Welcome to Super F Tier, a new video series here on the channel where we're going to be taking a look at the very worst at any given category. Over the years of doing tier lists here on YouTube, I've only ever found two different entries that I would consider Super F Tier. The first one of those is Jedi Master Coleman Trevor, which I ended up moving down from regular F Tier to Super F Tier after people insisted that I remove him from that tier. And then secondly, the lady who's trying to sell Donkey in Shrek, because she's just the absolute worst. Today we're going to be looking to scrape the absolute bottom of the barrel when it comes to Pokemon and trying to find the worst of the worst there. But with over 1,000 Pokemon to look through, we're going to need some assistance. And so I brought in the best help that we could afford here at the channel, and that is Professor Oak.
Hello there!
Now it is just Professor Oak from the game Pokemon Snap, so his responses are going to be limited.
Hello there!
We're so glad to have you here with us today, Professor Oak. Love your jacket. I'm a little jealous, actually, myself, feeling a little underdressed over here now.
Here is a present for you.
Really? Is that what this package is over here? All right, I'll go take a look. Oh, this thing is great. Let me put it on.
Welcome back.
How do I look?
Wonderful.
Thanks. What do you say? How about we get going?
Perfect.
So at the time of this recording, there are 1,025 Pokemon with Pokedex entries. And with the list that big, it would be intimidating to try and rank everything. But luckily, that isn't what we're going to do. To find our worst of the worst, we only need to look at the Pokemon that could actually stand a chance of being the worst. And so if we could start eliminating big groups by mentioning traits that would make them exempt from the Super F tier consideration, we should be able to get the number of actual candidates down pretty quickly. Last thing I want to say before we get started, just remember this is my list, so there is going to be a bias. But with that being said, I am trying to set out to pick a Pokemon that I think most people would at least think is lame. I'm going to start off by saying that every Pokemon from Gen 1 is off of the consideration list. They're classic and the standard that all other Pokemon have been judged by for years at this point. Pikachu, Charizard, Mewtwo, absolute top tier stuff here. Now they're not all great though. Jinx comes to mind, but they're nowhere near the worst. There are 151 Pokemon in the first generation, so if we take them off of our total list, it's going to knock our number down from 1,025 to 874.
Wow.
Next up, let's eliminate every starter Pokemon and their evolutions. The fact that these were all someone's first Pokemon that went off and had adventures with them, it makes me have a bit of a soft spot for them. If we take the remaining starting Pokemon and their evolutions and take them off the list, that's 72 more Pokemon. It's going to get us down to a total of 802.
Wow.
The third group we're going to be cutting off the list is going to be special Pokemon. This is going to include every legendary, mythical, paradox, and ultra beast Pokemon. This one just feels necessary to me. It's like even though some of these guys are just over-designed messes, I'm looking at you, Tapu Koko, they're at least important to the stories of the games and the movies. Most of them have cool powers too, and it makes them fun to use in fights. And to me, that's more than enough of a reason for them to get to be off of the worst list. As we're removing these Pokemon, we're going to remove 65 legendary Pokemon, 22 mythical Pokemon, 11 Ultra Beast Pokemon, and 20 Paradox Pokemon. That's going to bring our total Super F tier contention list down to 684.
Wow.
Now this next one is real subjective, but I feel that if a Pokemon is cute, it can't be the worst. It's a big factor in what makes Pokemon popular to as many people as it is just how cute some of these monsters are. I'm sure it won't be a surprise for you to hear that this category is the biggest one we're going to talk about today. This is going to knock off a total of 333 Pokemon, bringing us down to just 351 total Pokemon left for consideration.
Wow.
Come on, man. I know you only have 16 things that you can say, but you've got to mix it up a little bit. Give me some variety in here. You can't just keep saying wow after every category. Give me something else. Anything.
It's the sky.
Never mind. Wow is fine.
Perfect.
I should have just spent the money to hire the voice actor on Cameo. You are impossible. Anyway, where were we? That's right. Cool Pokemon. Now, cool Pokemon really actually is two different types of cool combined. There's what the 10-year-old inside of all of us would consider cool, like Tyranitar, Lucario, But then also I'm going to include in here Pokemon that moms would just consider neat, like Breloom. If you combine both of these groups together, you're going to take another 176 Pokemon off the list, keeping them safe, leaving us with 175 Pokemon still on the chopping block.
Well done.
Pokemon that I think are funny are going to be the next ones that get saved. More than any other category, I think that this is one that people could argue against. But hey, it's my list. Some Pokemon are funny because of the way that they act, like Wobbuffet in the anime. Some Pokemon are funny because of the way they look, like Squawkabilly. And some are funny because of their Pokédex entries, like Drampa, as pointed out by Pokemon expert Kyle Bossman.
Listen to this. If a child it has made friends with is bullied, Drampa will find the bully's house and burn it to the ground. Why isn't this the most popular Pokemon of all time?
29 funny Pokemon are saved, which leaves us with 146 left in consideration for the Super F tier.
Wow.
Now, some Pokemon are so weird that by sheer oddness, they keep themselves out of competition for worst of the worst. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with liking some of these Pokemon, but if you're telling me that Probopass or Cloth is your favorite Pokemon, I might change the way that I look at you a bit. Either way, 60 more Pokemon come off the list. The total now stands at 86. Next, we have a group that's almost too boring to be the worst, and that's Pokemon that are just blatantly real animals. I'm not talking about like based on real animals, but when you just look at a picture of them, if you didn't know better, you might think it was just a drawing of a real animal, like Toucanon or Flamingo. And I'm even going to put Miltank in this category. You might have dropped Miltank earlier because of cuteness. For me, they're landed in the boring category. 34 Pokemon come off because of this one, leaving us with 52 left in consideration. Now at this point, we're at Pokemon that I don't like, but this last group is going to be not good, but not the worst. Any of these Pokemon, I would totally understand if you decided to put them at the bottom of your ranking. Klinklang, Sandaconda, and then this one might get me in trouble, Pruggly, they're all in this category. Removing these 47 Pokemon is going to get me down to my final 5. Starting off with Wiglet and Wugtrio, their names are a big part of why I don't like these guys. I honestly just don't like saying the names. I hate how long they are. I mean, I like Little Brown Diglett, but this guy sticking out of the ground way too far. Mixed with the color, just seems unnatural. Relor, I think is how you say it, right? This guy's a dung beetle, so that's not a great start. But the big thing for why I don't like this guy is his little face. I hate how human he is. Also, a dung beetle should not have a nose that big. It's just messed up how big of a whiff this guy is getting all the time of this poop ball that he's pushing around. Now, my runner-up for worst Pokemon is Ambipom. It just looks like it was designed by someone who was trying to get out of work and had to design one more Pokemon at 4:55 on a Friday before a long weekend. They're just throwing everything together to get this guy done. I hate the hands at the end of his tails. They look like two udders. I don't like that his actual arms have no hands. And then to top it all off, the haircut on this guy is so bad, it makes the kid from Stranger Things look normal. So finally, that brings us to my pick for the worst of the worst. It might seem like a strange pick, but it just makes me the most annoyed out of all of these Pokemon. Just the fact that it exists is annoying to me. Its Pokedex entry is number 1000, Goldengo. This guy's made out of money, and it's sad to say I'd rather have the money he's made out of than this actual Pokemon if he was real. I mean, it's a cool concept. It's fine, I guess, but this guy's design just feels really lazy to me and also kind of like weirdly human. He looks like the mascot for like a string cheese company in the 1990s. I really don't like his belt, especially how low it's hanging. And the little smirk on his face too is just like driving me up the walls. Again, it just almost feels like a really lazy Pokemon. It's just like filler. You think that being number 1000, they would want to put in like their best effort to make this guy cool. But man, they just dropped the ball here. Like most things in life, I'm most disappointed by the missed opportunity to do something great here. I'm sure I could go on, but I think I've stated my case in why I believe Goldengo is the super F tier of Pokemon.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much, Professor Oak. Now, for everybody out there, statistically speaking, you're going to disagree with me on this one. There's just too many Pokemon for us to really think there's going to be any kind of agreement. So make sure to let me know who you think is the worst Pokemon in the comments below. And if you really like one of them that I mentioned hating, let me know why. I'd like to hear some of their redeeming qualities. I want to give a big shout out to our special guest, Professor Oak from Pokemon Snap. Working with you has only been mildly disappointing.
Perfect.
All right. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like and subscribe, and make sure to let me know what you think we should give the Super F tier treatment next. I look forward to seeing you in the next video. See you then.